morning, sewing friends. I'm Anne from Sew Paradise, and today I want to talk to you about sewing for midlife. Yes, indeed, and midsize too if you're there. So I want to talk about sewing for midlife because I think sewing gives us the opportunity to change the narrative around what your midlife body looks like and how you're dressing it. So if you're like me and you are, say, midlife menopausal area, I'm going to be 54 years old this year, which I think I look pretty good for 54. But like a lot of people, things have appeared in places that I didn't want them, like midlife midsection, no good. I don't like that at all. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't definitely lose weight and get fit, or at least get fit and be healthy. It's just that sewing changes the game. It gives us an opportunity to say, you know what, I am not my weight on the scale. I have an opportunity to sew what's flattering to me, what works well, and helps me navigate this particular time of change in my life. And there's 3 changes that are really important when we're talking about sewing. Number 1 is your body shape. Number 2 is how you appear to the world. And the third thing is how comfortable you feel. So let's address comfort for a minute. You notice I'm in a sleeveless garment. Yes, midlife arms and everything. I do yoga every day. I do some light weights occasionally. I'm involved in some sports where I use my arms, sailing, things like that. So my arms are in great shape. You might not be comfortable with your arms, but don't fall into the trap that your arms are anything less than perfect. Can you hug somebody? Can you pet your dog? Can you pet your cat? Can you lift things and carry them? Your arms are perfect, just the way they are. But sleeveless is really important for midlife because hot flash. So I embrace the sleeveless garment. And I remember talking with a sewing pattern designer friend of mine some years ago, and she was talking about sleeveless and like short sleeves and crop sleeves and things like that. And I remember thinking, I'm always cold. What's going on? What's the sleeveless thing? And then I got to menopause and I'm like, oh, right. Now I get it. So really the idea of having a transitional garment that you can wear sleeveless almost all year round and just wear a cardigan or a blazer or something over it is a way to win at midlife sewing, right? So this is the Normandy Maxi dress, and Normandy has a lot of really wonderful patterns. The designer Kim designed some absolutely amazing patterns that are really well drafted and they fit really well. This one is the Maxi dress, and as you can see, it is fitted up top. It's got a really nice neckline, and then it floats away from the body, which is exactly what you want. And almost all of Kim's patterns are exactly that. They just float away from the body and they're perfect. In fact, all of them do. And I'm going to talk about them both here and on my blog so you can check out the different patterns. So that's one of the lines I really, really like for women of our age, if you want to call it that. I think the dress is very comfortable, it's flattering, it kind of skims over all this midsection stuff here. And you can see it's still got, a nice little side vent here, little legs showing, very, very comfortable. There's shorter ones, there's longer ones, there's different shapes and things like that. Plus she's got a couple of tops that can be cropped. Not a crop top, but cropped. So let's talk about crop tops for a minute. I follow a blogger named Goodbye Crop Top, not a sewing blogger, but spoiler alert, she didn't give up the crop top. But I still do think that you can wear a cropped top, which is trendy right now, if you want that, and you can do that in a way that's really flattering. So if you're wearing a looser wide leg pant or skirt, you definitely want a shorter top with that, no matter the season or the trend. And you can do that by having the pant and then the top still cropped, but not crop like my teenager wears, right? So think about making your pant and skirt a little higher and then your top just about an inch or so below that. When you raise your arm, your shirt might lift up, but it's not going to be a belly-bearing kind of shirt, right? Because your pants are going to be up high. So embrace the higher waist pant or skirt and embrace a shorter top, which looks great with a wider, fuller pant or a wider, fuller skirt, but at the same time isn't a crop top. So that's one of the ways you can modify that with feeling comfortable in your body and then also nodding to the trend. Now, the other way that we can do that, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about showing off assets of your body. The other way we can do that in midlife sewing is we can embrace the arty. Now, this jacket is the Tremont jacket from Sewing Workshop, and almost everything from Sewing Workshop is arty. I think arty tends to transcend trends because you wouldn't walk into a store and buy this jacket ever. Like, I don't even think you would have bought it when it was designed maybe 5 or 10 years ago. It's not something you're going to see. Vogue has a really good line of patterns. Marcy Tilton, they have a couple of other designers. So Vogue does a really good job at this. I think there are, the Sewing Workshop does a really great job of this. And there are a few other designers that do have some things that are artier. So definitely look at arty garments. My inspiration for a lot of the arty garments that I do wear is, I'll get some good inspiration from Anthropologie. I get some good inspiration from Free People. And then, you can kind of go to the higher end designers like Eileen Fisher and some of those other ones, some of those other designers that tend to do more arty garments. Arty transcends fashion trends. You're not going to buy this in the store, but it's not untrendy. You're not going to look, oh, like, gosh, she's dressing herself in the 1960s or 70s or something like that, or 80s or 90s, right? There's some opportunity to be cool and wearing these clothing, but wearing this type of clothing, but at the same time, not really playing to the trends. So definitely look at arty garments. I also think you should look at some of the higher end athleisure patterns. In particular, I would mention there's So News, Berta Style, both of which are publications, and they tend to be a little bit more avant-garde, I think, than a lot of mainstream sewing pattern designers. So definitely look at those for something that's athleisure, that is also interesting. So we've talked about dressing for comfort, sleeveless garments, elastic waists or partial elastic waists for comfort. Your body's going to change in and out. You're going to be bloated, maybe you're not, that sort of thing. That's all part and parcel of the menopause era that we have to deal with. So sleeveless, feeling comfortable in your body, dressing in a way that reflects your personal style, whatever that is. My personal style is not purple hair edgy. My personal style is more Trayvon jacket and moto jacket edgy. But if you're really into that super edgy stuff, there are opportunities for you to buy and modify patterns that have that. So right now, a couple places where you might go is Mood Fabrics. They have a bunch of free patterns, tend to be quite a bit edgier. VikiSews on Etsy. There's also some other Etsy designers that are doing a good job that have some trendier stuff, some higher trend stuff as well that I think you definitely want to take a look at. So in midlife, break out of that style rut. If you were, like me, a J. Crew girl, and you wore striped t-shirts and jeans all the time, you can still wear those. Just also break out and make some other things that help you break out of this midlife dressing mode. Capri pants are a no-no. Make them longer, like probably the length of the Closet Core Pietra, which comes a little bit lower on the leg. That would be perfect, or a cropped wide pant would also be perfect too. Don't wear a traditional capri pant. You're just going to look like you're 80. It's just no good. It doesn't look good on almost anybody who's midlife. I think maybe if you're younger, you can get away with it, but when you're older, it just looks like you're in your mid 70s or 80s or even 90s. Trying not to wear shorts. The other thing I want to share with you is that as we age in midlife, there are certain parts of our body that really do stay the same. One of those parts of our body is our shoulder line, okay? So off the shoulder tops, or those that show this area of our bodies, is really perfect. And I want to show you a way that you can take a trend that's super hot right now and make it your own for midlife body. So I was just in Central Europe a couple weeks ago, and everywhere I went, I saw women in tube tops. But typically they were, young women, tight fitting little tube tops, right? Obviously, for most of us, we're not going to wear a tight fitting tube top, crop top, even with wide leg pants or skirts, which is how I saw them. But we had the opportunity to nod to a trend and still look really good. So this is a top that I made from a sewing pattern, which is long out of print, like 15 years out of print, maybe even 16 or 17 years out of print by now. But I have a sewing pattern coming out for free that is similar to this. And this is what I like to call the Blouson middle-aged two-top. So this elastic up here is a 1-inch elastic, and this is the non-roll heavy elastic. This is going to stay above your bust line. It will not fall down, I promise, even with double D or greater. There are some really nice strapless bras out there that do work for double D and greater. Visit your local bra shop and get fitted for one, or you can buy them, like I think True Love has them. They have little grippers on the top. They're nice. They're stretchy. Definitely make this. Okay, so this is going to show, it's going to come right here above your bust line, and it's going to show off your shoulders beautifully. This down here is a 2-inch non-roll elastic. It might even be 2.5. It's huge, right? This is not the thin stuff where you sew the channels on the top. This is the thick stuff, the non-roll stuff, right? Thick stuff. You're going to want that. And this can be worn at the hip, down here with a little blousing, or it can be worn at the waist with a little bit of blousing. And I will have a free sewing pattern. It's actually, measurements, and then you like draw it out to your measurements. I will have this up on the blog in about a week or less, and you will have this. But you can see how great this looks. This whole thing in here is going to just blouse over, and it's going to cover all of that midsection stuff. Looks great with wide leg pants, cropped wide leg pants, a maxi skirt, even a slimmer skirt, if you like an A-line skirt or something like that, would look great with flare pants or even jeans. This is just a great top. It's going to hide all of this midsection stuff. It's going to give you this beautiful line up top, and it's going to give you the firmness with this elastic that things are going to stay in place. So this is an example of a way that you can take a super trendy garment and a tube top, and you can wear it as a midlife woman. Okay, so that's going to be a new sewing pattern coming up. I love this look. I've worn this for forever. I've actually got a bandeau jumpsuit that's on my blog as well, where I've married this to a pair of wide leg, elastic waist pants, and it's like a little jumpsuit that you can wear. Super trendy, super fun, always flattering. Every single time I wear it, I get compliments on it, and it looks great. I wore it to the Taylor Swift concert, you guys. I took my teenager and 5 of her friends, and I wore it to a Taylor Swift concert. So, hey, there you go. This pattern will be coming out soon. This is the blouse and tube top, and you will see it here very shortly. So we talked about 3 things today. We talked about dressing for your midlife, we'll call it your climate environment, right? Sleeveless. Embrace the arms. Embrace your midlife arms. We talked about working with the midlife midsection, right? Through blousing, drapey garments, things like that kind of hide. I have a midlife belly, you guys. You can't even tell in this dress. You can't. It just switches away. So that's perfect. So we talked about dressing for that. And then accentuating the things that you want. And then, of course, choosing garments that are maybe a little bit more different and distinctive to give your wardrobe that something special that's really different, and give you a little bit of arty, athleisure, whatever it is, a little bit more couture that you're not going to get in regular ready to wear. As sewists, we have the opportunity to embrace where we are with our bodies and feel good about them. I was talking with a couple of young women online, and they were saying, if you had to remake your wardrobe over, what would you do differently? And for most, it's just a sort of a theoretical question, because they're not really going to remake over their wardrobe. In the last 3 years, I have a whole new wardrobe because I have a whole new body. And that was pretty powerful, because it allowed me, instead of saying, oh my gosh, why would I buy new clothes? I need to just lose this weight, I need to exercise, I need to eat less, whatever. I just said, I need to sew some new pants. And I did. Now, I will also say too that Sew Liberated, and I will post this in my blog, had a great article about getting comfortable with your pants. And I will post that as well. She's got a new pant pattern coming out, I think, in August as well. I will post that as well, because I thought it was a really great article about feeling comfortable. Now, she's not a menopausal woman, she's younger, but she was posting about things like elastic waist pants and having a selection of pants in your wardrobe that are slightly too big and maybe a little bit too small, so that you can kind of rotate through your garments and say, you know what, here's my slightly too big stuff, and I'll save that for when I've had a big meal, or I'm feeling a little bit bloated, or I'm not feeling like myself, and being able to go to that, and then keeping that range that you're sewing on a regular basis with those elastic waist pants that have that flexibility. So embrace your midlife body. Embrace your midlife self, sew for it, be comfortable in it. Midlife and aging is a gift bestowed upon not everyone. I think I've been fairly upfront with most of my followers that I don't have my real hair. This is not my real hair. I'm an alopecian. So every day I get up and I'm bald, you guys. bald, middle-aged, no makeup. You can imagine how I feel. It never gets easier. Every single day I get up and I do that. I put on makeup, I put on my hair, I put on jewelry, I get dressed. I'm a totally different person, like 100% different. I go from looking like a baked potato to presentable for the rest of the world. So it is really, really difficult to do that every single day, and that will never change. That's my whole life. But I also know too that life is a gift. My birth mother died when I was very young. I was 3 years old. My brother was about 9 months. My dad remarried, and my mom and dad live up north in Michigan, and I am so grateful to have them in my life, still alive. But I recognize that my mother never had a chance to see my brother and I grow up, let alone meet her grandchildren or any of those other things. So life is an incredible gift, you guys. We should embrace it, even with midlife arms and midlife midsections. So that's my take on midlife sewing. Go out, sew it, watch for this pattern coming up this week. I should have it done for you guys, including a sample sewn hopefully on Thursday, so it should drop on Friday. So go out, sew some stuff that maybe you haven't sewn before, and feel comfortable in your midlife body, because you know what? You're in it, and you might as well enjoy this phase of life too.